Check. Check 1, 2. Check 1.
Shabbat Shalom. Page 10 in your prayer books, we begin with words of welcome from Psalms. How good and sweet it is for us all to be together. Hine מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Words not in your prayer book, but known very dearly to many of us, the words of sanctuary. We sing, Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. We have many guests with us this evening, and if you don't know those words, you can always sing Yai Lai Lai. Sometimes I'll even direct you to sing Yai Lai Lai, like I'm about to do right now, as we Yai Lai Lai our way through sanctuary together. We sing as one community. Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai.
Welcome and Shabbat Shalom. We are so delighted that you're here with us to celebrate Shabbat. I'm Rabbi Ali Tick-Brill. I'm honored to be leading tonight with Kenny Lyonswright. And we know that we have many new friends and seasoned friends. We want to welcome everyone who is here to celebrate Beth and Austin. We'll be talking more about that occasion in a bit. We want to take a moment and invite you to please greet the people you're sitting near, introduce yourself, and wish them Shabbat Shalom.
Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai.
We welcome Shabbat first by lighting the candles. We invite you to join us on page 2. As I light these candles, I would like to ask you to imagine the stress of the work week vanishing like smoke from the candles as we set aside the matters of the week and we welcome the peace of Shabbat.
Together on page 2. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner song. We are gathered this evening, of course, for Shabbat services, but also to celebrate the remarkable achievement that our friends Beth and Austin have reached in their wedding anniversary. And so to honor them, we turn to these songs of love on page 11 with the words of Dodi Lee.
Page 24, we welcome in the angels that carry with them Shabbat peace. We greet these angels with the words, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 20. That word dodi, that Hebrew word dod, means beloved, and we turn now to lecha dodi, come my beloved, come to greet Shabbat. We are told at Shabbat that we are to be as happy as we would at a wedding. And so we will conjure some of that joy as we sing together the refrain at the top of page 20, as well as verses 1, 2, and 9. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, mikabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, mikabela. Shamor v'zachor segula, boi chala, boi chala, lechadoni, ikrat kala, beni Shabbat, mikabela, lechadoni, ikrat kala, beni Shabbat, mikabela.
As Kenny explained, that prayer Lecha Dodi connects Shabbat with the bride, because brides make us feel hopeful, they make us think about love and new beginnings. And tonight we are honored to be able to share in the delight of a very special bride and a very special groom, Beth Gomberg Hirsch and Austin Hirsch, who have decided to mark the occasion of their 50th wedding anniversary by participating in this service and by hosting a beautiful oneg for all of us. So at this time, we're going to invite Beth up to the bima to share some remarks on this momentous occasion.
Okay, for those of you who I haven't gotten to say hello yet, how filled with awe is this place, and I really, really know it. I'm so thrilled that you're all here. Most of us are raised to think that we are entitled to grow up and live happily ever after. We are now in the almost ever after phase, having read that the average life expectancy in the United States is 79, which makes us approaching the bonus round. And we would like to report that for the most part, we have fulfilled that prophecy, and life has been very good. Austin and I are here with all of you to celebrate those vows that we took 50 years ago. And looking back from this vantage point, it seems like a blink. I don't know how half of a century has passed so rapidly, and I want to share some of our origin story. Austin and I got married in January of 1974. We had a whirlwind courtship of a few months before our engagement and our wedding, but in those months we learned many life lessons. I was coming off of a broken engagement, as many of you know, and my father and Austin's mentor-in-law, Leonard Schrager, fixed us up. Austin was given the directive that he had to take me out, or at the very bare minimum, called me. I tried to let him off the hook, saying it was not necessary for him to follow through on Leonard and my father's dabbling into matchmaking, but Austin said, nope, nope. If Leonard said I have to do this, I have to do this. And so our first date took place. I asked my father what Austin looked like, and my father, in his typical candid honesty, said he looked Semitic. You could always count on my father for a very unusual remark. And at that time, so many moons ago, Austin had some dark hair on his head, he wore a shiny black shirt, and he was punctual. Fashion choices, hair on his head, and punctuality would all dramatically change over time. For sure. We drove down Sheridan Road to the north as it was a balmy April evening, and Austin, being from the south side, had no idea about the opulence of the North Shore. After being dazzled, we ended up at Walker Brothers on Green Bay Road for a cup of tea and a pancake, and then went to our basement at 3325 Wilder Street for many hours of talking, the first of many such nights like that. And in the next few months, Austin studied for the bar exam. I got a job teaching in a nursery school to buy some time so I could apply for graduate school. Austin passed the bar, started his new career in a law firm of just 12 lawyers at the time. And he got an apartment at 545 Sheridan Road, and together our life began in earnest. However, competing with our joy was the sorrow of watching Austin's father begin to dramatically decline in health. He died in November of 1973 and created a very permanent hole in Austin's heart. His father was a self-made man, an immigrant to this country who had a certain swag and a joy of life. He continued to eat his German sausages and smoke his cigarettes, even though both were slowly killing him. His death jettisoned Austin from son status and made him man of the family, with his Oma, his mother, and his sister Diane all leaning on him. We altered our wedding plans after Rabbi Karf counseled us that a wedding should go forward even during a period of grief. We modified those plans, and we tried to placate all the competing interests of both families. And any of you who knew my mother know that was not easy. We got married on Super Bowl Sunday, 1974. And there were a few transistor radios present at Guildhall that afternoon because the Super Bowl means a lot to a lot of people. Flexibility and adaptation were to become the hallmarks of our early life together. And shortly into our early marriage, Austin's sister developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And once again, our life mutated. Every night after work, Austin would go to Hyde Park to the University of Chicago Hospital or to Lakeview to Diane's apartment to be her support. It was an important lesson to learn that one should do whatever it takes to make someone's death be the most supported it can be, and do whatever's necessary to not carry any extra regrets through life. He was the first death doula in our family. And after that second death that Austin had to co-pilot at the age of 28, we then decided to try and have a child of our own. But infertility raised its ugly head, and that became a tough challenge. We eventually did have two children, two miracle children, one through drugs and medical intervention, and the other through an amazing adoption. Both stories are inspirational, and so many of you have heard them and know them, so I will leave it at life lessons learned here. Miracles are possible. And 2 has been our lucky number. We had 2 cats, 2 daughters, and 2 dogs. And the pets were and are great, but the daughters remain our greatest blessings, compounded by the fact that they have made us grandparents and gifted us with 4 sparkling grandchildren, Sam, Bee, Ella, and Saul. Grateful that they're here tonight. The cycle of life continues, and we have much joy in watching what our union has brought forth. And there are so many highlights to look over these past 50 years. Our many family trips, our groupie trips, following our daughters to China, Germany, and South Africa to see them in their natural habitats at the time. And our happy place has been in Galena, which has become our family refuge. And as Bruni once said, it defines us as who we are. But I think the moments to truly treasure and remember are the most ordinary. Pulling Bruni out of the hospital after her tonsillectomy because Austin had had enough. Hospitals are definitely not his place, but when he is in your corner, he becomes a pit bull, and there is no one who will fight harder for you. He was determined to get her out of that hospital, and I still laugh at us going AWOL and Bruni throwing up all over the elevator. And I remember the games of horse playing on top of our hoop in our garage in the alley. Austin's sense of competition is ever so fierce that he would elbow you if that's what it took to win, even if you're only 4 feet tall. I think his crazy sense of competition balances my dread of conflict, and together, someplace in the middle is a well-felt balance. And I guess that a union works best when an equilibrium is found, when each partner can find the strength to support the other's weaknesses. And I think of our partnership as a yin-yang relationship, and Austin is indeed the hot fudge topping on my chocolate chip ice cream. We are so fortunate to be able to fill in the missing pieces for each other. And as my daughters will attest, I love things with words on them. And we used to have this saying on our powder room till it fell off the wall like recently. And it said, "Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away." It is a quote attributed to many, but it speaks of the little sparks or glimmers that make up the meaningfulness of our lives. And looking at this lottery of life, we recall a few of those moments, those breathtaking moments, things I think about in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. And of course, the top of the list is the birth of our children and our grandchildren. But I also remember that Christmas Eve ride to Galena in the red Volvo wagon when Grandma Ellen was flanked with Danielle and Bruni, and we were going down the hills of US 20, and Grandma Ellen wincing at each one as we skid all over the place. And I remember that car ride home from a JUF dinner when Danielle, with Brian Roach, was in the car, and Danielle called us to tell us about Sheila and Howard's fatal car accident. That was a game stopper. And I remember taking Danielle and Bruni to watch Michael Jordan rock the old United Center, shooting his magic hoops, and Bruni had just learned how to tie her shoelaces, so she bent down to tie them just as that $1 million three-point shot cross court went, and she missed it. Timing is everything. And I also remember going to Harry Rosenberg's election night party, watching Barack Obama win the presidency, when hope felt like a very real thing. So many things to remember. And looking over the breadth of these past 50 years, it's hard to pick out so many of those significant moments, so many associated with a place like our home at 1011 Greenleaf, with all of its shared events and holidays. But we also remember the communities that we have been a part of. And in no significant order, they are our book group, law school friends, temple community, family, work friends, the Southsiders, Shabbat group, and random important people we've picked up through travel, school, or through our kids. The important point of all this is that connections have given our lives meaning. Recently, we watched on Americans for Justice and Democracy a Zoom presentation by David Brooks on his new book, How to Know a Person and the Art of Seeing Others Deeply and Being Deeply Seen. It is all about the importance of making human connections at a very genuine level. And we can attest to the fact that our life is richer by those key relationships that we have formed, and even enhanced by the more casual acquaintances we have cultivated. I want to offer up just a few little examples. We walk Leo a couple times a day through downtown Wilmette, and one of our more reliable routes is down Greenleaf towards Poplar by a Strive fitness studio. And in that studio works a man named Rudy, who has gone out of his way to say hi to us every time we walk by. Sometimes he comes bounding out the door and pets Leo, and he asks how we're doing. He wants to know about Leo's health. His big smile and his warm acknowledgement makes our day. He sees us, he honors our presence, and he makes our neighborhood feel super friendly. Connections like this do make a difference. Second brief story. Recently on Facebook, I was messaged by a woman who asked if I had a child that went to Lincolnwood School in Evanston in 1983. The woman's name was Linda Allen, and in fact, Danielle did have a posse of 3 little girls in kindergarten, and Jillian Allen was one of them. Linda and I were friendly those 2 years from the schlepping up and back of our daughters to school. The fact that all these years later she remembered me, she reached out, and now we're Facebook friends. That, in a small way, was really exhilarating. The fact that she wanted to reconnect is an unexpected little miracle. And the third story. Our lives and our backgrounds are somewhat different, yet the Walker women meet through Zoom or for lunch every few months since 2006. Our common bond is that we all work together at Walker School. It is this group of women that provided me a soft landing during the time I transitioned from the primary role as a parent and a worker to becoming a retired empty nester. Our paths may have diverged, yet we still stick together. It is, again, a commitment to a connection and a support of each other. We have supported each other through deaths and illnesses, such as the very sad loss of such good friends Janice Miller, Sandy Carter, and very recently Anita Mukand, which are all indelibly felt. But on the flip side, we have cheered each grandchild that gets born, and we had some great field trips. We have created history together, and as David Brooks acknowledges, we know we are seen. And because I am standing here in this place, I want to conclude with the importance of being part of a community. This particular place has provided us with many wonderful, treasured friendships. It has also given us psychological comfort to know that we have a place and persons to turn to in times of great joy and great sorrow. And it is great that you are all gathered here tonight, not for our funeral, but for our life-affirming milestone, 50 years of marriage, our real celebration of life. When we put together our contact list for this celebration, it was a grand exercise in validation, because yes, we have so many friends, and yes, we are so blessed. And in doing that exercise, we made it easy for our daughters, because now, upon our deaths, they have a ready-made funeral contact list. However, you are all excused because you showed up tonight when it really matters to us. Just remember, though, when you get the call, to eat a piece of chocolate. We decided to do this tonight because we needed to tease out from our routine those occasions to celebrate, because one only knows that there are enough reasons to get depressed. Just look at our current events. Oof. But we are alive, and we are basically well, and we still have all our original body parts, minus 1 prostate gland, some teeth, and a few inches. But we have no life-threatening illnesses. Like Sarah and Abraham, we are blessed to reach old age together, having gone through some rough patches, but coming through stronger together. 50 years has been traveled in the quick blink of a time, and we are both so very humbled to have arrived at this milestone. After watching Rabbi Brous and Rabbi Lau Levi in my Yesod class speak about prayer, it fleshed out for me the reason to ask for a rabbinic blessing tonight. We do indeed need to take a moment to pause from our busy lives and praise and remember and document this lovely moment in time, to give thanks that we have arrived at this blessed event, and together as a community to be seen and supported by all of you. I want to give a special shout out to Vicki Karen and her mother Annette, who've been friends with me since I was 4 years old on Wilder Street, who are here tonight. Thank you. And to Bill and Helene Horowitz, who were Austin's friends since he was a little boy on Ridgeland Avenue. And to Ilse Siegler, who is our oldest friend, whose 100th birthday party we got to go to in June. And we want to give a shout out to all our virtual friends and family who are not in the room with us tonight in Colorado, California, Washington, Maryland, Arkansas, Arizona, New York, Florida, New Mexico, Texas, Mexico, and Galena. As trite as the saying is, and it doesn't make it any less true, your presence, each and every one of you, is indeed our greatest present. You see us and you love us, and we in turn see you and we love you. It really is kind of a namaste moment. We are so very, very thankful to all of you for putting in the effort to come out on this cold February night to share in our great joy. And so we say, Amen.
Austin, will you join us on the bima? And I'd like to ask all of Beth and Austin's friends who are here in celebration of their anniversary to please rise. And now we'll all stand together. Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu, God who blessed our fathers and mothers. We give you praise for the gift of love that fills the hearts of Beth and Austin as they celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. With deep and abiding love, we know that their lives are bound to each other, and we pray that these bonds grow stronger and stronger each day, and that this loving and loved couple enjoy many more years of health and joy together. Beth and Austin, your children and grandchildren, Bruni, Fred, Saul, and Ella, Danielle, Adam, Beatrice, and Samuel, they stand here as living testament to your love. You have established for them a firm foundation of compassion and ethics that will endure as your legacy. May you go from strength to strength and drink deeply from the cup of love and life, joy and simcha. God, keep far away from them all sorrow and pain, and bestow upon them the strength to overcome any adversity. Praised are you, O God, for the capacity to love and for the gift of a loving and cherished couple. And we'll all say together, Amen. We remain standing as we turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu. Please be seated. We turn to page 34 to offer words of Shema, proclaiming God is one.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Shem kevod malchuto leolam vaed. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. On page 36, we'll offer a creative English version of these words from our Torah. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise.
We sing a song of freedom, page 40, Mi Chamocha.
On page 43, the Hashkivenu prayer asks God to spread over us all a shelter of peace. The name of our congregation, Sukkot Shalom, is within this prayer. It means shelter of peace. I hope you'll join me in singing these words along with some creative English at the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Eloheinu leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. The Amidah section of our service invites us to share a personal moment with God, but also with ourselves. And after chanting words on page 46 and 48, we'll have that moment to spend in our own thoughts and our own prayers. But for now, I invite you, if you feel comfortable and able, to rise and turn to page 46 as we chant these words together. Adonai, sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh HaKol, Ve'zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imachot, Umevig Gula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 52. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yachalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. Together in the middle of the page. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated.
We turn to page 55 and we read together at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Our Torah portion this week is called Teruma, which means gifts. And in it, all of the Israelites are asked to consider what unique gift they have to contribute to the community. Some people are able to bring materials, things like jewels and stones. Some people are able to bring precious metals, which were important. Some people were able to bring oils. It reminds us that we each have contributions that we can make. Each of us is unique in our strengths and the things that give us energy and move us. In the same way that in this room we have a myriad of gifts and abilities, we know that when we're gathered together, we also have a myriad of personal struggles. Some of us are going through our own health challenges, or someone we love is struggling with their health. We turn our prayers now to healing, physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing. If there is someone you're praying for tonight, we would ask you to share their name with us, and we will join you in your prayers. And we recognize that you might be praying for the restoration of their health and for them to have a cure and to return to their full strength. Or maybe tonight you're praying for someone to find peace or for their suffering to be alleviated. And so whatever form of healing you are praying for, we will join you. Please share those names as my hand passes around the sanctuary. For all who are named out loud and all who are named in our hearts, we offer our Misha Berach prayer, page 253.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We pray silently.
Page 62. We pray together for peace with the words of Oseh Shalom towards the bottom of the page. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו, ואמרו, אמן.
In October 2020, the height of the pandemic before vaccines arrived, we had a 2-year-old son at home, and then I gave birth to twin daughters. The outside world was brimming with fear and uncertainty, and then inside our home, we had 3 babies around 2 years old and younger. We were overwhelmed. And then a wonderful woman named Amy came into our lives as our nanny. From the moment Amy walked through our doors, she brought with her this calm and steady strength. She was truly a master caregiver. She kept the house under control. She transformed the kids' eating habits. She somehow managed to make all 3 kids feel attended to and calm and supported at the exact same time. But our parenting styles could not have been more different. So I coddle and baby and mush. And Amy was boundaries and independence. To give you an example, mornings in our house can be chaotic, getting 3 toddlers out the door. And my instincts tell me, dress the kids. Because if I peel off their pajamas and pull up their pants and Velcro their shoes, it goes a lot faster. But Amy would never do that, and she would roll her eyes when she saw me try to do that. She believed that kids need to develop these skills on their own, and she knew that holding back from doing things for children that they can do for themselves allows them to flourish. Right before the high holidays this year, Amy went to the emergency room and learned that she had advanced cancer. She never left the hospital, and 11 weeks later, she died at age 53. A few weeks ago, I officiated at her memorial service, and so I've been thinking a great deal about her legacy. Amy has become my guardian parenting angel, whispering to me to honor my children by expecting more from them and by letting them do things for themselves. And I try to channel her every day. In the Torah portion this week, we find the Israelites encamped in the wilderness at Sinai, and their recent behavior leaves room for improvement. A few chapters ago, the Israelites experienced the miraculous parting of the Red Sea, allowing their escape from Egypt. And then right after that, they start complaining about the difficult journey. They say, there's not enough food, and the food is bland, and the water is bitter, and it would have been easier if we would have just stayed in Egypt. They whine. And then they experience another unprecedented miracle, revelation at Sinai. And amidst thunder and lightning, God delivers the 10 Commandments to Moses, and the Israelites enter into the special covenantal relationship with God, where they promise to trust each other. And just a few days later, the people break their promise, and they build a golden calf when worshiping idols was explicitly prohibited in the freshly carved 10 Commandments. And they act like toddlers. Well, toddlers who need a nap or a snack, toddlers on a bad day. And so we see a cycle in the text. Flashy miracle, bad behavior. Flashy miracle, bad behavior. But then something changes. God instructs the people to build a portable sanctuary called the Mishkan. God says, "Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. Tell the people to bring me gifts from every person whose heart is so moved." So God calls for this massive communal building project to create the ornate portable sanctuary with an ark in the middle to house the 10 Commandments. And people bring wood and animal skins and metal. And the Torah painstakingly describes how the Mishkan should be built in more than 300 verses, which read like architectural blueprints. For thousands of years, people have wondered, why did God need the people to build the Mishkan? The Bible depicts a God who can do anything, who can create the world in 6 days. So why charge the people with this building project? Well, a close reading of the text reveals the answer. God says, "Make me a sanctuary so that I may dwell in them." In them, the people, not in it, the sanctuary. God didn't need the sanctuary. The Israelites needed the project. They needed space to make something of their own. And building the Mishkan coalesced the group into a people. It transformed this ragtag group of former slaves into a community, united by a mission to create a just society antithetical to Egypt. It's not what God does for us that transforms us. It is what we do for God, writes Jonathan Sacks. So long as every crisis was dealt with by Moses and miracles, the Israelites remained in a state of dependency. In order for them to reach adulthood and responsibility, there had to be a transition from passive recipients of God's blessing to active creators. In a midrash, a story that the ancient rabbis wrote about our Torah portion, Moses questions God's building request. And Moses says to God, "God, you're master of the universe. The highest heavens can't even contain you. So why do you need us to build you this physical sanctuary?" And God replies, "Moses, not as you think. Rather, 20 boards to the north, 20 boards to the south, and 8 to the west, and I will descend and contract my presence among you below." I will descend and contract my presence. From this idea of God contracting, the Kabbalists create a concept called tzimtzum. Tzimtzum suggests that for God to create the world, God needed to contract to make room for something else. Once God contracted and did tzimtzum, that negative space allowed light and land and water to appear. So too, when we take up all the space, nothing else can grow. And in marriage, in parenting, in friendship, we all try to learn that delicate balance of how to be available while making space. To know how to be present and how to contract, this is holy, godly work. When we first interviewed Amy, she shared with us her resume. And at the top of the page, in big, bold letters under her name, she wrote, "My core belief is to treat children with dignity and respect." Even though Amy was a devout Christian, she loved to stream Shabbat Shalom services. And one night during her hospital stay, she couldn't sleep. In the middle of the night, the oncology floor was dark and it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. And she was quietly playing our Rosh Hashanah service when the shofar blast came blaring out of her phone. We had a great laugh about that. I wish I could tell you that since Amy's death, I've been able to hold myself back from doing the things that the kids should do for themselves, but I have a long way to go. But the Torah portion offers a powerful reminder that it is holy to give people space to build something of their own, that we respect each other by providing the opportunity to contribute, by contracting for someone else's space. After all, allowing someone to develop and mature all on their own is a pretty flashy miracle, I'd say. Shabbat Shalom.
Once more, if you feel comfortable and able, I invite you to rise as we turn in our prayer books to page 282. We'll begin the concluding prayers of our service this evening with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach Ladon HaKol, Latet Gedula Leotze Breshit, Shehu Notei Shamayim Ve'osed Aretz, Umoshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Mima'al, Ushchinatu Zo Begove Meromim, U'Eloheinu Einod, V'Anachnu Korim, U'Mishtachavim U'Modim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 287. V'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. At this point in our service, we turn our prayers to memory, and we remember our loved ones who are no longer with us. I know that for some of us who are in mourning, we are grieving the loss of someone who we loved deeply, someone who was a bright light in our lives, whose presence was a comfort. And some of us might be remembering a family member or a dear one and grieving the unresolved conflicts of that relationship, grieving for the relationship we hope to have. We take account of all forms of mourning and grief, and we remember these dear ones of our congregational family who died recently and who died at this season in years past. With great love, we remember Isabel M. Horwitz, Lev Podorovsky, Benjamin Krause, Eugene Mahaney, Goldie Friedman, Nanette Greenspan, Nellie Orlov, Saul Zitlin, Alexander Sanders, Ira Kahn, Lillian Feder, Kathleen Schroeder, Geraldine Bose Harris, Noah Feder, Sylvia T. Letterman, Aaron Epstein, Ben Ehrenberg, Edith R. Hall, Helene M. Krensky, Claire Fraze, the Honorable Judge Alan Greiman, Janice Weiner, Louise Pierce, Ruth Kaplan, Melvin Herbert Wolfson, Irving A. Weiner, Michael Sapper, Ethel Goldstein, Florence Rosenberg, Helen Solomon, Estelle Schiller. Are there other names to add to our list tonight? If you are in recent mourning, we invite you to please rise. And if you are here observing a loved one's yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death, we invite you to please rise. And now we rise as one family of families to recite the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam omei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitala v'yitalal shemei dekudasha barechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Please be seated. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen.
Kenny will share announcements, but we want to thank you for being with us. It has been so wonderful to celebrate Shabbat with all of you, members of our community, friends and family of Beth and Austin, and of course our founding Rabbi Sam Gordon and Patty Gerstenblith. We are so glad you're here with us tonight.
Very briefly, before we retire to the Oneg upstairs, we want to make sure that everyone has on their calendars and has registered for what is going to be a spectacular guest scholar weekend here at Sukkot Shalom. We're partnering with St. Augustine's Episcopal Church of Wilmette to bring in Michal Lemberger, who will deliver a lecture titled Heroines, Villains, Rabbis, and Writers. Which biblical figures are revered, which reviled, and why? That will take place here in this sanctuary next Sunday, February 25th at 7 p.m. Rabbi Tickbrill will be delivering a sermon response the Friday following, March 1st at 6:30 p.m., and Reverend Nadia Stefko of St. Augustine's Church will deliver her sermon response on Sunday morning, March 10th at services there. And I think I mentioned already, the last announcement of the evening after we say Kiddush and Motzi is to please remember to join us upstairs to continue celebrating Beth and Austin's wedding anniversary. So we sing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Please join us upstairs.
Shabbat shalom.
Crushed it.